discussion? Hearing none, we'll put the agenda as presented. Actually, let's go ahead and call for the vote.
Well, if you don't have to take a motion on approval of the agenda, you could do it by consensus with lack of objection. But if you do make a motion and a second, you should do a vote.
Right, all those in favor?
Aye.
So unanimous. Board Secretary?
This portion of the agenda allows for individuals the opportunity to address the board on any item not on the agenda regarding district business. The law prohibits the district from taking any action on items not on the agenda unless authorized under section 54954.2 set the governing code. And your matter may be referred to the general manager. An individual may also address the board on any agenda item at the time the matter is discussed and prior to board consideration or action. Speakers will be limited to 5 minutes. Your time will start when you approach the podium and will be given a 30-second warning before your time expires. If you choose to ask a question during this time, any response by the board will not extend your time. Questions may be referred to the general manager to be answered at a later time after the meeting. In order to allow for a smooth and orderly meeting and allow each speaker the ability to address the board, disruptions from the audience will not be tolerated and will be asked to leave. We appreciate your cooperation in this democratic process.
Any public comments?
Well,
Well, you're like only 2 members of the public, so.
I got 3 words I'd like to say. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Good evening. Ken Hagen from Westpark. I'd like to say, Brock, you're doing a great job. Thank you. Bill and I, we both live over at Westpark, lived over there for 21 years. And you know, our park is a disgusting mess. We are losing money on it. It's not being maintained. Brock and his guys have gone out there the last couple of weeks. At least we're seeing some action, but we got problems over there. We need to get it fixed before it's a big lawsuit. Now, I'm working with Brock. He's nice enough to give us a map of the park. Got some areas of concern. I don't know if you want to bring it up here or table it and get with you personally later on, Brock.
You can give it to us after the meeting.
Okay,
That's fine.
sounds good. Okay. But I just want to say that because, you know, for 21 years, that park has just went downhill. And there's no reason for it. Absolutely no reason. It's disgusting.
Well, it's actually somewhat on the agenda for tonight.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Hearing none, we'll move to the minutes. Number M1, approve of December 6th, 2016 regular board meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. McKay, seconded by Mr. Williford to approve the regular board meeting minutes of December 6th. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Consent calendar, CC1, approved check voucher register 11/29/2016 through 12/12/2016.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
5-0. New business, assignment of 2017 conference and meetings for the board of directors. Presenter is Ron Smith.
This was brought back on so you gentlemen could think about what meetings and things you want to go to, because remember, for insurance purposes, you have to have authorization. Also, the board at the last budgetary stuff said that they wanted to assign and keep under control rather than all 5 being able to go and putting it all in the budget. You want to sort of look at who's going to what so you don't do a duplicative. And some things are important, maybe more of you, so it's all up for you tonight to sort of map out what you want to do this year.
Okay, why don't we start with I've got the very last page, if you have the printed minutes, has the list of events and conferences. And start with the rookie. Which ones did you want to attend, Mr. Woodford?
Whichever one you recommend.
Well, I talked to you in La Jolla, for sure. On February 26th to go for the Special District Leadership Academy Conference. He also gets the special training he needs to qualify for the reduced rates on workers' comp. Is that right? Once he completes his Leadership Academy training, he also makes us all 5 board members trained for the reduction in our rates, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that's a must go for you, you understand that one, that saves us money too. So, if you have to,
That's February 26th and March 1st.
that's correct. And then you should get your feet wet at both the Aqua and a CSDA conference. Were you able to attend the spring conference from May 9th through May 12th in Monterey?
Yes.
Okay, and you're also going to get your feet wet at the the CSDA conference, also in Monterey in September. And Mr. General Manager, my view is that a new director should attend those 3 conferences, and they should really count against if another board member wants to go. So
That's up to you. I'm not the policymaker. That's
Okay.
what you guys want to do.
Well, that's
Just remember, there's so much money put in the budget, and if you want to go over that, we can always reallocate money and move it from someplace else.
well, that's my view on it.
Yeah,
It's,
and that's fine.
okay. All right.
Brad can find money anywhere. So.
Okay, Mr. McKay, we have you down, of course, to attend the legislative symposium that you do, Mr. McKay, on March 8th. You will attend that?
Yes.
And anybody else want to go with Mr. McKay? Mr. McKay. JPIA annual meeting held at Aqua's annual conference. That's right. Okay,
Remember, Mr. McKay is also on the board for Aqua right now, one of the boards.
okay, so that's,
He's our JPIA member.
makes sense. And then the fall conference and exhibition in Anaheim. But did you also want to attend the spring conference, Mr. McKay?
Yes.
Okay. And anybody want to join Mr. McKay, Mr. Williford, in the spring conference for Aqua in Monterey? 2. Aqua fall conference in Anaheim, it's closer. Mr. McKay, I take it you want to attend that one as well? Anybody else want to attend that with Mr. McKay?
That's what I remember now.
Okay, Mr. Glennon. That's a really tough one for me most times. That's the crap we try to do, you guys. Mr. Singledecker? Yeah. Not a good time? Which one do you want to go? You want to go to the spring one, that's what you're saying? See, that's an Anaheim. In November, right, Thanksgiving?
Yeah, tentatively, go ahead.
Okay, let's put Mr. Singledecker down there as well. For the November 28th one. And Aqua board meetings, of course, Mr. McKay, is anybody else going to be joining him? I suppose Mr. Lennon and Mr. Singledecker could attend as well, right? Okay. All 3. Okay, CSDA, special legislative days, May 16th and 17th in Sacramento. They'll all jump at once? Okay, don't have to go to that one.
My own personal viewpoint on that, it's worthless. It's a waste of time. Because, as you know, I mean, I have personal relationships with the people that are up there. You know,
Okay, so we don't-
you know, the senator or whatever. And when I went there, I thought, well, we didn't even talk to the chief of staff. We talked to one time the communications director.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's like, what a waste of time, right? Because I could just email, I could just text either one of the legislators and say, hey, look, I'd like to talk to you about this, right? I think it's important if you're a new district and you don't have relationships with your elected officials, but we do. You know, a lot of you know them, you've met them, you know, and
It also conflicts with a board meeting.
right. I mean, yeah, but you can always send a board member up there if you want. So, but I just found it to be, if you don't know the legislative process and you don't know how that works and how to get things done, it's good. And it's good to have a showing up there. But I don't know, for myself, I thought talking to the communications director, this was a waste.
Okay, then we have the CSDA, Special District Legislators over La Jolla. That's for the newbies, right? And that'll be Mr. Williford, and there's another newbie conference in Napa, and Okay, so we have the annual conference and showcase in Monterey and September 25th. Mr. Williford would like to attend. I would like to attend. That would be my one that I think that's what you can go to. Anybody else? CSDA annual conference.
Did you get Mr. Glennon down? Byron, don't you go to some of the CSDs?
He likes the water smart. I think he likes water smart. Is that
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So we got Mr. Glennon for water smart. He's already on the Aqua one. And anybody else want to go to water smart? I think Mr. Wallace went last time. I don't know if Mr. Wilford wants to film it or not. It's in Vegas in October.
You got me on 3 already, I don't want to wear out my welcome.
Should I check with your boss?
I'm the boss. Sometimes.
Vegas in October? All right, well, anyway, change your mind. Let us
My
know.
daughter lives in Vegas, and I'm over there too much now.
Okay. All right, then we have the annual membership meeting in Spring Safety Claims Education Day in Sacramento. Now, in the past, we've been able to get them to come here, is that right? Is that?
So they alter. 1 year it's in Southern California, and then the other year it's in Mexico.
And we have to send, is that what we have to send one manager, one board member?
Okay.
So
we're
is
gonna
that
send one
usually-
manager?
Yeah, Lizette usually goes, and then just one of the board members need to go, so that we get the discount.
Who else wants to go to the annual membership and Spring Safety meeting on March 28th? Let's all jump at once. Who do they, I've got you down for, you get the legislative symposium, and that's it. March 8th, so be 20 days later. Okay, so we can vote there. Okay, miscellaneous, the Curry County Board of Trade State of County dinner, all directors are going, is that correct? All right. ABEC in Allendale, they have regular meetings, Mr. McKay and Mr. Shingleder's been your backup, is that right? You guys want to continue that relationship? Okay, and then so the backup will be the JPA Water Bank. Mr. Glenn, you would like to do that, is that right? There's a meeting tomorrow morning, can you make it? Can you get him printing off the minutes and stuff so we have?
Yeah, I'll make sure he's on the, are they not sending you, Byron, they don't send you this stuff anymore? Okay, we'll make sure they start sending it to you. It's one of those quick phone conference things.
Okay, so then you have to get it early and wake everybody up. So get your stuff. Okay, that's 9 o'clock tomorrow. Adjudication Water Master, it's been recommended we have 2 people attend those. Mr. McKay, do that. And Mr. Shingledeck, you're down in the neighborhood, we'll stop on the Lancaster. Okay, you still attend. Now, anybody else can attend too. And so I guess we can have a backup to you. Anybody want to give you that, Mr. Wilford?
Sure.
Okay.
Remember, when you're saying that you're gonna set 2, that means you guys will get paid at a meeting.
Up to-
That'll count as one of the
And up
meetings.
to 2 members, and if Dennis can't make it, Russ is there, he gets paid.
I made the comment that if it's a significant meeting, we ought to have two there at the
Water
water
Master.
master.
And sometimes they're not significant,
I
sometimes,
say if it's significant.
sometimes it's perfunctory, yeah, so.
Yeah, but if it's a significant meeting, and you can probably determine that.
Yeah, sometimes we know, because we
Because
have,
you'll know a couple days ahead of us.
right, as you know, I'm the vice chair of the Public Waters Steering Committee, and then also I'm on the advisory committee, which is in the adjudication. So, so we usually get a good heads up whether there's something. Yeah, right. I mean, like when they went there, as you know, you guys went, when they went to the interviewing the consultants for engineering, it's like, no, that was a waste of time. It's just, that was boring as all get out. You guys didn't get much out of
We
that.
get some meetings that are going to be good, but the other ones, it's important though that we're there in a presence.
Budgets and those kind of things,
You
right?
know, as far as the Water Master goes, because they see us there, and we know
Yes.
who we're dealing with.
Yes.
Down the
And there's
line.
also there's still some disagreements. As I've said, I'm having disagreements with AVAC. AVAC is disagreeing with me and the other 4 attorneys. Not that I'm an attorney, but the other 4 attorneys, including their own attorney, on assessments and those kind of things. So there's some things to work out, so yes.
The 2 landowners yesterday told the rest of the board, if you don't get an attorney here, we're not gonna be here. Because
Right.
they're liable for some of the decisions that they're making, and they're not covered.
And
So if the 2 of them don't show up, there's nothing that can be done.
one of them doesn't show. So, and by the way, you were there yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah, I was on the conference, but I couldn't I could have pressed anything and speak, I would have spoken one thing. Dwayne is still giving the wrong definition of how the assessment is supposed to be calculated. He says, well, it's logical. That's not logical, it's what the judge said,
Yes.
right? And so,
And
Wait a
it's
second,
not-
Adam. The judge said it's gotta be logical. Don't you know anything?
yeah, no, I said, yeah, that's what I told before. I was in front of 2 attorneys and I said, we're not talking logic, we're talking what does the court order say, right?
That was brought up by an attorney there, and they still didn't listen to him.
No, was it Warren
No,
or Keith?
I think it was Keith.
Yeah, Keith, no, because I've had emails exchanges with them and Doug. And,
We're getting a little bit off the
yeah,
basic.
but that's okay, but it's all about ABEC, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's
Well, we'll
important to
discuss
be
it
there.
later.
Sometimes, I can talk about it at the general manager's report, but sometimes it's important to be there to show force and say, hey, look, wait a minute.
Yeah, and that's really good to learn, as I've, like you all know it, but the process and purpose, it's not for me yet. Lake Mead was named after the first water master for the state of Wyoming. He later became Secretary of Interior. And he was a water engineer. Instead of, we have the State Water Resources Board in California. Wyoming has a water engineer. And they know how much water runs through every stream in Wyoming, where it's going, how it's getting there, because of that. And that's kind of what the water master's going to do. They're going to hire a water engineer, and the water engineer is going to run the show. And like an engineer, it's going to be, it will be logical, it'll be based on numbers and math and all that stuff. So it's important what we're doing right now. It's the embryonic stage of castigating it. We'll see how it goes. Okay, we talked about Water Smart Innovations Conference in Vegas. That'd be Mr. Glennon. California Water and Policy Conference, I think that's in June. It's usually in Frisco. Put me down on that.
Is that that legal one?
Yeah, I need to put Mr. Smith down for that too. Like he said, I'm not a lawyer, but he sure knows a lot of them, so.
Just make it up.
That logic would appeal to have that background. It's a good crash course in water law. One other thing I thought should be on there is probably the Rosamond Rotary Sheriff's Appreciation Dinner. Find out who's going to go, who wants to go for that.
We did that last year,
It's
yeah,
by
it's sort
table.
of a public relations kind of thing.
We can do that again. We don't have to necessarily have anybody at this point.
No, but we can do some of that.
Okay. Okay. This is a non-action item, I believe.
No, it's an action item,
Yeah.
because by your vote, you're saying you're designating that, and that way the insurance company covers everybody.
Oh, okay, so we had to, so if you want to be on something now, speak now for hold your peace type of thing?
We need a motion and
Hang on a
action
second.
to assign as stated during this
Let me
public,
go
so we'll need to
forward.
recite it.
What's that, why don't you take one more minute and find out if you want me to go into play?
And remember, you can always amend this anytime you want. It's just a matter that you take a vote and say, this is what the meetings are. If all of a sudden something important comes up and you say, hey, we need to go to this, then we add it, and that's fine. And then we just, Brad's gonna go to the money tree and then he plan it. But we'll figure it. There should be some money in there if we need to move forward.
So I was just thinking perhaps the fall conference, that's not until next November, so we'll worry about that. Okay,
How much money we got?
do y'all know what your assignments are then?
I'll make a motion that we go forward as currently assigned. Second.
Moving a second that we assign the named directors, as I mentioned them as we went. I have a listed for you, Kate knows that. The various conferences. Any discussion? Public discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous? Well, that way you can.
She's a good note taker.
Then, NB2, new business to discussion regarding strategic planning. Presenter Ronald D. Smith.
Yes.
Okay, is to reallocate money from the CIP for a strategic planning consultant.
Right, well, there's 2 different financial things that we want to do. I think it's important, staff could move some of the money themselves, but I think it's important that, you guys make this decision as a body that we go in this direction. Strategic planning is very important. We have a new board member. You have a new composition of board over the past couple of years, and you really need a roadmap. You know, we talk about things all the time that we should do this, we should do that, but we need to set priorities, we need to set our goals, our mission. We need to, it'll help us create a CIP. Cities do what's called a general plan, and most anything that they do, whether it's an ordinance or whatever, they always refer back to the general plan. It says the mission under section whatever is that we do this, right? And one of the, we have purple pipe, we have a lot of that stuff to discuss. We have CIPs, we have priorities and what staff thinks we should do, but also one of the main issues that has come up over and over again, which the gentlemen are here tonight, is the park. Okay? As you know, the park last year, or maybe you don't know it, got some new numbers, we spent about $236,000 on the park. Now, because we rearranged the way we were doing landscaping, we managed the pool differently, we had some carryover from before, all the ad valorem money has been going to the park, and because we changed things around, we actually ended up with about $165,000 in surplus at the end when we did the actuals, which was good. So that's how we're fixing the kid park, and that's how we're going to get some of the money for this. We can open up the pool.
So we had $236,000 budgeted, and we got $165 left over.
Because we only have $87,000 for the pool in the park. It costs $236,000 to maintain. And like, you know, when we met with the school board superintendent, Mr. Weinstein, okay, he said, "Oh, I could take over the pool. I just need $400 to $450 a year, right?" And that's to do a full-blown program the way it is. It's the community of Rosamond doesn't have anything. And they have you know, Glendower Park, but they really don't have much. We could have something really good. Senior citizens, yoga classes, you know, the swim stuff during the summer, you know, programs for the kids. A lot of parents might work. It'd be great to have, you know, day camps of what they call it. The tennis courts are in a shambles.
You worked Brad overtime trying to find that money.
Well, this is part of the strategic planning. So we've discussed this numerous times. We can't do this without some other kind of revenue stream. The district foolishly years ago took a loan for $3 million, and that's what we're paying back. Part of that refinancing of that debt was able to pull down the cost of the debt recovery. I think the debt recovery right now service is about $85,000 a year, but our ad valorem money can be used for other things that we need in the district also. So it'd be good if we could free that up and make more revenue, so that's all part of the strategic plan. As you know, I've been a real stickler on one pot of money has to go for one thing, so we can't take water and sewer funds solely to do a strategic plan and think we're going to make a plan on the park. We can't. So we need to take some of that ad valorem money and reallocate it. About $30,000 I think is going to be good. That's the park component of it. And what I've talked to the consultants about is, and there's two different consultants I'm talking with. One of them I'll talk about at my general manager's meeting. I went to a seminar this last week and it was really good. And NDS is one of our new consultants that's working with our streetlights and our bond workout. Is what is the best financing? Is it a CFD? Is it a tax assessment district? Is it a property tax? What's going to be the best so that everybody in the community pays a little bit rather than the people at Westpark and some of the other homes are the ones that are footing the bill to have a community park. The tennis courts, I said,
It is a community facilities district.
there's a couple different financing ways, but we haven't gotten there yet. First we have to figure out, don't get the cart before the horse, we want to figure out what is the plan? And that means bringing the citizens in, having some public charrettes. What do you want? Do you want to expand it? Do you want programs? Do you want a skate park? Do you want a dog walking park? What do you want? And then you go through and say, this is the price tag. Now we have to look at how are we going to finance that. Now, I would say that, and we've discussed this before, and I think I get the feeling from the board, is that if we really can't finance it the way we're supposed to, then we shouldn't be doing it at all. We can keep the pool open, but we need, Brock was doing, what was your estimate about, probably about $350,000?
$200,000 to take care of the safety issues that are over there.
Just the safety issues right now, right? And that's not saying that the pool needs to get replastered, pumps are gonna have to be replaced, there's no depreciation put away for that park at all. So if anything breaks down, we really don't have any money to fix it, we're just doing it on the fly. So this would give us an opportunity to not only look at our purple pipes, what projects we want, what's the future of this district, where do you want to go, what are your goals, create the mission statement, create the goals. That gives it the roadmap to move forward, sort of a 2020 view. And so staff is recommending, especially since we have a new component here to the board that we reallocate some of the money. We have about $100,000 that was allocated for the covers, but the board says they don't want to do the covers at all, so that's fine. We can reallocate some of that money, and that would be the water and sewer money part of it, and then part of the ad valorem money could be part of the parks part of it. And so NBS would be the consultant that would come on to look at the financing part of it, be part of the conversation to say, okay, what does
Cam Newton's Mary or?
N as in Nora. Nora Boy Sam.
Are we looking at about $20,000, $25,000 for that, or you got a feel?
You know, if we were going to do it from scratch, you're usually talking about in the range of 130 to 150,000 to do a strategic plan for this district. I got the one that was done before. There's some problems with it, but the consultant that did it, Brent Ives, I've talked to him already. If we bring him on board, it wouldn't be somebody coming on saying, hey, I'll do it for 130. It would be about half that price.
Well, he did it for about 30,000. He did.
And it looks like a $30,000 one. and you need more. But that would include public workshops for what's called charrettes.
That didn't include the public that last one.
Right. And you need to engage the public because the county too, if the county wants to get involved, what I've been told is, we did a poll, they want to see we do our groundwork first, and they might be partners. So do we have a partnership with the county? Don't know. But those are all the questions that come out once we find out where we're going. But besides just the parks, we need a roadmap for where does this district want to go? How far do we want to go? Do we, there's been talk before whether stormwater, talk before whether we want to extend pipes and try to improve the industrial area and take on the sphere of influence out at Willow Springs.
Yeah.
All those things need to be discussed, and we set the roadmap. So that's what we're asking. It's important that we have that. And so we've got two good consultants. Brent would come on. He says a number of you have been in some of the seminars at CSDA, and I think they were positive. And staff will be looking at this time to make sure that we guide him in a way to really do the job.
Do we have anybody we can choose other than Brent?
We could, but then if you have somebody come on, he's already familiar with the district. And he was suggested by NBS, but if we have NBS on and we engage our staff a little bit more and guide them and say, this is the direction. We've already had a number of conversations with them, so I think it's really important for us to guide it and really make it go where we're supposed to.
Well, I think you're putting the cart before the horse before you ask the people what they want. I think we need to ask the people. I think we need to put it on the ballot. You know, we asked the people when PACO gave us the parks powers. Okay, on that same ballot was the funding for the parks, and the people turned us down.
Absolutely.
And I can't see, we're already $2.8 million in debt over the parks. I can't see spending any more money on the parks if the people aren't going to come forward. Okay, one of the things that I would suggest is we put the parks up on Craigslist like we're going to sell it and give it back to the county.
And you know what? And that has been my suggestion as a possibility. But when you say the cart before the horse, the majority of the money is for the district as the water, the sewer. We need some strategic planning for that too, and sort of incorporate everything. The small portion of it is the parks. But
well, that small portion that you're going to spend on that would be better if we reduce the debt.
Absolutely, and so one of the conversations that Brad and I have had is one of the options that we just give it back to the county, take all the money that we have, pay off some of the debt, and use our ad valorem money to try to pay that off. And that is one of the possibilities, and that's why it's up for discussion tonight.
I guess the question is, Ken and Bill, you've been there when the county took care of the park, you've been there when the RCSD took care of the park.
Yes.
Do you have a preference? Is it really the same, or are they equally better?
Well,
It's, go ahead.
you know, last time when the county had it, and they capped it. Okay, they filled it with sand and they blacktopped it. And I called the county and I wanted to know how come I'm still paying the lion's share. You know, back then it was like 120 something a year. Well, we got to pay for that. Okay, that was the excuse. We got to pay for that sand and that blacktop.
Right.
And we had to pay for those couple of years that they mysteriously, it's a miracle, they found the money to operate the pool.
Right. The problem has been in the
Now,
past.
if we give it back, are we still going to be on the hook? You know, the four districts?
It's going to be the county.
Yes.
Yeah. Are we going to be on the hook to pay that, what, couple $100?
$87,000 a year.
Yeah, just to be on the hook, but you'd have the county that you'd be talking to, not us.
Yeah.
So the question is, who would you rather talk to?
And there's
Well,
the question.
I'd just like to see it fixed. If it ain't gonna be fixed, unload it.
Unload it.
Well,
Unload it. Because it's gonna be a lawsuit,
But it's always gonna.
not by us,
Yeah.
you know, but somebody's gonna walk through there, their kid's gonna break an ankle. And you know how this world
It's
is,
bad.
they're so happy.
Tree stumps, water holes, water leaking.
Yep.
It's bad.
Glass, and they're gonna blame us.
Well, I guess the question, well, I guess getting back to Mr. McKay's point, he doesn't think we should spend any money whatsoever ever planning. I would respectfully disagree. We need to we need to get some input from the community. We need to be able to let them educate us on what they want. And if we don't do that, we're going nowhere.
And to do the vote right, Mr. McKay, is that you do want to do these public charrettes. Because then when you go out there, you say, this is what the public wants, this is what we're going to do, here's the shopping list. Part of this cost is getting us to actually spend, part of this money is going to be to spend to actually put it out to a vote. Okay, it's the strategic planning is going to incorporate taking something out to a vote. And so, but you have to prepare that, you know, and there's a lot of strategic things to do on that, you know, political wise to try to make a success. Brad and I were tossing around numbers. You're talking about, like you were saying in Westpark, you're paying, you know, how much now a year?
130 something.
Yeah,
136, 138 a year.
Brad was doing rough numbers. If we had a property assessment of even like $75, it gives us, you know, like close to $500,000 a year, and we can take care of the park and do a full-blown program the way it's supposed to be done. What?
We disagree with you. We've already been told it would take about $385 per parcel to put the park system into what the people want.
Well, that's not what I found. We kept the pool open for $236. We have CIP of maybe close to $300,000, but for operations, we operated the pool for $236. We could, if we had $500,000, you know, we could easily do a full-blown parks program, yoga classes, everything.
You got Westpark over here, okay? You got the park. You got United Street Park over there. You got Glendower that belongs to the county,
Correct.
okay?
We don't have United Street.
United belongs to the school district.
Well, the school district.
It's still a park,
Correct.
okay, until the school district does something with it.
You have a soccer park. You have Glendower. You have Williford Park.
You know, you got two parks. The rest of the town wants parks in other places too.
Correct.
So what I'm saying to you, if you're going to do a park situation, you need to do it for what the people want. That's going to be about $385 parcel tax per year to do it.
That's what the specific plan is for and what the engineering is for. In order to put it out for a vote, you can put out a vote and say, hey, do you want to just spend money? But to put it out to a vote properly and to do it legally, you have to have a plan. And you have to say, this is the shopping list, this is what the costs are going to be, and then you take that plan to validate what the cost is you're asking people to pay. Whether it's $100 a year on their property tax or whether it's a CFD or whatever it is. But I don't know where the numbers, and you were told one thing, but I mean, Brock and
The
I...
man that sat in your chair told us, okay? He did a study.
Okay.
And that's what he said. If you want to do this and you want it for everybody, to cover everybody, all the different parts of the town, it's about $385
That was all,
parcel.
that was local park.
Yeah.
Okay, well, just saying, let me do the math on that.
Last time we voted, wasn't it approximately $50?
Yeah.
They
That
were
would
only
give you-
talking to Westpark.
That would
When it
give
was
you
Westpark.
No, I
almost...
think everybody, about.
Was it all
everybody-
parks combined?
Everybody in the community would have been $50 parcel.
Right. But that was,
Several years.
Yeah, that would be close to $2.7 million for a parks program. That's a lot of money.
That included Fellside
And doing, yeah, a lot, yeah, what I want is a realistic, pragmatic approach to doing parks.
That's
Something that
what
the
you
community
want, but what
wants.
do the people want?
Correct. What do the people
Okay.
want, and what are they gonna pay for? But what I'm saying is you have to have a realistic approach for it. You can say, hey, you know what? I want a water park. Let's build Disneyland here. I mean, people might say a lot, but it has to be reeled in with the reality. You know, if everybody pays $1 million on their property tax every year, we could build Disneyland, right? But 385, I think, is like overblown. I think it's way out of the range, but I didn't read the report. So that's why, and this is what we're talking about tonight, it's your guys' decision if you want to go, if you want to do the park we should do the park right.
I'm
and we
all
should-
for the parks. The only
Right.
thing is, I want the people in the whole community to pay for it. And if the
Absolutely.
people in the community won't pay for it, then we don't need it.
Absolutely, and that's why we're here tonight.
Right?
That's
We've
the,
already asked the people in the community once, and they've turned us down.
but it's the way that it was done. You said, do you want to pay for it, but.
Let me tell you something about the people, you know,
Yeah,
they're very frugal,
absolutely.
okay?
So that's why you have to say, you're going to get A, B, C, and D, and this is what it's going to cost on the property tax, or whatever it is, or the CFD every year, and this is what you're going to get, this is our promise to you, and then you put it out to the vote, and if they vote no, then it's Craigslist, like you said, and then it just goes back to the county.
People need to know that.
People need to know that. And that's why we go through this, that's why we want to go, the staff wants to go through this process to bring the people in, to do the public outreach and say, this is where we're at, and do it. Now, we did the poll, and remember, 87% of the people came back and said they want parks programs for the kids.
Wasn't binding.
No, this is advisory, but this is the first step. That's the first step that you do. 2/3 of them said they would be willing to pay for it. So that gets you past that 66% threshold. So I think, and that's just this one poll, but I think if we go through the process, but we also need to do strategic planning, and you guys need to set goals and priorities for the CSD as a whole, you know? And so that's why we're putting it all together as one package.
I think we need to move ahead. We've got to educate the people, educate ourselves, decide whether we want a Cadillac or a Ford Fairlane. But we need to move ahead. The superintendent of the school district, Mr. Weintraub, sat here in this meeting, listening, and said that when he wanted a bond issue for the school district, he had to bring it before the public 3 times before it finally passed. So, yeah, they said no once. So we go back out there, we have something in paper for them to see what they want. Don't do it again.
Russ, I agree with you, but here's the thing, okay? We're already $2.8 million in debt because of the park, okay? How many times are we gonna go out there and ask the people to do something? I'm all for going out and asking them. Okay, don't understand. That's what I wanna see. I wanna see it before we spend a whole bunch of money trying to do something. Get the people to tell us that they're willing to pay for it. Give them an idea of what the property tax is gonna be, and ask them, okay?
Agreed, but we have
And
to
if they
have.
say no, then you forget about the parks.
Right, and that's
But
what,
first you have to.
that's the money that we're asking for, is to do exactly what you're saying, Mr. McKay, is to go out there, educate them, ask them, set it up, vote for it, and get to that point. So there's a whole process to get there. But exactly what you're asking for is exactly what staff is suggesting. Not spending money on the park, not doing anything yet. We have to do some fixing up that we did because we have a little bit of money. We can open the pool this year, but after that, if we don't get the results that, like you're talking about, then you guys are gonna have to make a decision on, do you keep on doing it halfway and keep on doing it and just trying to make it and open it up on a shoestring, or do you cut string, yeah. So, but yeah, so what you're asking for is exactly what we're asking for, is to go out to the public and bring them to that point and put it to a vote. But you can't do that, and then also there's different financing that might be successful or not successful, because each one of those things that I said, either a CFD, a tax assessment, or a property tax, all have a different engineering, all have a different, onus that you have to do, all have, whether there's a general benefit, specific benefit, there's all these different levels. One is a protest vote, one is a 2/3 vote, and one is property owners, the other is all the public. So whatever's gonna fit and be the most successful. Because if you go out to the whole public and they get a vote, well, that means renters vote, that means everybody votes, any registered voter. If you go out to property owners, it might be people who live in LA that are
Well,
voting.
Mr. McKay put together the benefit assessment district that brought water to the west side of Rosamond. It's virtually every other bike that other than the one along L site goes down.
And that's the benefit assessment
Everything
district.
else is paid through that benefit assessment district.
And that's one product. There's other products too, and they take different kinds of votes. So that's why MDS is coming in to look at what's gonna work good for us and what do you guys want to do.
I would suggest to you that it's the property owners are the ones that should be voting on this, not the whole community, not the people that are gonna be, you know,
The individual
that's the problem with our society right now.
Right.
You know, we got people that are voting, and the only reason they're voting is because somebody there is offering them something, okay?
Right, and
They
that's,
don't have any skin in the game.
Absolutely.
We need the people that are the property owners. Should be the only one that's gonna vote on this thing, because they're the ones that are gonna pay for it.
right, and that is a philosophical question that every board has to answer. And so what's going to be given to you is different products, what is the onus on our part, and then what's the voting, and what's the results.
Well, I
And
think
then-
you ought to make the decision tonight. If you're gonna spend this kind of money, then we tell them right now that it's only the property owners that are gonna vote on whether the park is gonna.
Right, it would be better
funded or
to
not.
actually have the numbers and the information. I can't give you that information of all the different products and what it takes and everything. I'd rather have NBS do that for you down the line. Because you
Mr.
can,
President, I'd make a motion that we fund this strategic plan, but in this plan, we tell the finance people that it's only the property owners get to vote on the plan.
Okay, well, I think
That's my motion.
it's a good point, but it's not on for motion. It's just,
Yes, it is.
it's just a discussion.
The strategic plan is
Item
this.
A says reallocate
Parks
money from
is
CIP for
this.
strategic plan consultant.
Oh, that is motion?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we have a motion to reallocate money for the CIP and designate ad valorem money for the parks portion, provided.
now I would say, I don't disagree with your philosophical stance, but I just want to make sure, can you make a specificity of what product or what kind of vote we're going to do and how we're going to, because that's more of a direction of what you're going to do. That's not, putting out to a particular vote is not in front of the board right now.
Right, what's before the board right now is
And
reallocate.
us, and I'll tell NBS, this is what we're looking at. We only want property.
I just want to make sure that you're getting that direction from the board.
Right.
I'm only one member.
No, and absolutely, you know, you can give me, is there, let me ask you, is there an objection to what Mr. McKay said of doing only property owners' votes?
This, the strategic plan is for water, sewer,
And
and
parks.
all of our things.
Correct.
Then parks is gonna be a small
component.
part of that.
Right, and then what Mr. McKay was saying, he wants direction for staff to make sure that whatever component is of the parks program is that we go to a vote of the property owners. I can take that by consensus
One of the,
without.
Yeah, I'm fine-
well,
I'm fine with that.
I think that's a good idea, but I think to say, was described as a five-legged stool as far as financing goes, we don't want to just look at one leg. If there's another four legs, we should, let's know what they are.
Well, why don't, well,
Okay, here's the thing. We're elected by the people of this community to take care of this community, okay? If we pass this thing, and then it comes out that it's gonna be a couple $100 to put this thing together, and it's gonna be on everybody's parcel tax, guess what's gonna happen?
I've been in a meeting,
Okay, you'd be defeated.
I've been in a meeting,
I guess the point, I agree with you that the landowners are our first and best choice, and we should focus on that. But
Well, let me-
I don't
let me get-
disagree, I know, but where I disagree with you is to say that's the only choice.
well, let me sort of ease your mind a little bit on this and everything. It's not public comment yet. They'll open it up for public comment after.
okay.
We
Before
gotta
the
work
vote.
with each other first.
Okay. Yeah, so any decision on that, Mr. McKay, has to be made by the board. Even if you don't make it tonight, we can't put it out for a vote until you guys decide how you're gonna do it. We can't decide what the financing is until you guys decide on it. We're not gonna decide what the budget's gonna be until you guys decide it. All those decisions will be made during this strategic plan. It's gonna come down to the end, you're gonna say yay or nay. So you can go through the whole thing and say, I like this idea, I like this budget, but I only want it to go to the property owners. You're gonna have to make the vote. Even if you don't make the vote tonight, I still gotta bring it back to you because you guys are gonna have to make that decision of how you're gonna put it out to a vote, right? And so maybe NBS has another creative way. I don't know, but they're the experts at it. So I'd really like you to hear them too. But at this point, I understand if that's what you want, just property owners at this time. I still have to bring it back to you for a vote when we get that product and we know what it's gonna be. Just like when we brought you the rate study for the rates. We had to bring it to you and you decide. Streetlight, bring it back to you and then you decide. We can't go forward with that.
What we need to do is approve, either approve or disapprove these two items.
Just to start doing the study, to start
The
doing
direction can be given at a later time.
It can be given all the time. And you know what? The direction has to be given at another time. Not another time, but it has to be given. You have to give us the direction to put it.
I don't think we want to tie the consultant's hands right from the get-go.
No, they'll still, you know what, as consultants are, they might give you just other options just so you can hear it, you know, and you can say nope, you know, but they're not going to spend a lot of time. They already know that stuff. To them, they're not going to spend time developing the mechanism. They already know what the mechanisms are. They can easily tell you, this is what you want, here's the products, and you choose. You want Coke, Pepsi, or Diet Coke?
I will second Mr. McKay's to go ahead and approve the two proposals for the strategic plan, and then we can get direction at a later date.
Okay, so that's amending his motion.
Amended.
Okay,
Is the original moving party agreeable with
Yes,
that?
I'll agree with that.
okay.
All right, so we have a motion to, on MD 2A and B to, as presented, and with Mr. Schinkledecker's input as to where the focus should be. And before I ask for a question or to vote on that, do you have any input?
Okay, you were right. Smith, you were right. And I love what you guys are, because I love the parks, but my partner and I walking all the time, seeing it. What I'm gonna do is be retired, and I'm gonna talk to people. When's our next board meeting?
January 3rd.
Okay, that's only 2 weeks away. But I'll tell you what I got by then. I'm going into Albertsons, I'm shopping, I'm going up to a person, I'm gonna ask you, you want our parks? What do you think about it? You willing to pay $75 more a month? You really want them or not?
Well, that's a year.
Well, a year, I'm saying, a year. But I'm gonna talk to people, and I'm gonna let you know next meeting.
Let's get this.
I'm gonna take a notebook
Oh,
with
yeah, I'll
me.
take 75.
I'm gonna take a notebook with me, and I'm gonna put a check down. Where do you live at? Okay, you're west side, you're right side, you're east side. Do you want the parks or not? Are you willing to pay? Yes or no? And what do you want in that park? Do you want a swimming pool, or you just want the playground for the kids? I'm gonna ask them. We at least have an idea. I'm gonna ask everybody. I'm gonna walk in Albertsons, and I'm in there, and I'm gonna ask 4 or 5 people. I don't care, a woman, man, I don't care who it is. At least we have an idea, and then I'll be able to, because I agree with both you guys. So,
What do you think if we got something like Flash Vote that the committee could have input once a month on topics like that? Just
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I think 2 weeks is kind of quick because of Christmas. I got a party Saturday night. And I got about 25 people coming. I'm gonna ask every one of them when they come to the house.
And
let me ask you this.
No,
Mr.
I just want to know
Mr. Smith,
because what I care about is the playground for the grandkids.
Right.
absolutely.
if the board passes this motion, how soon will the strategic consultant be asking the community to come here and provide input?
Soon, I'd like them in February sometime to start having public charrettes. You know,
So
now here's the thing.
February to come on here and start, and we'll have them at different times of the day for different people that can make it.
Sure. Here's how it would work in somebody,
Anyway,
and I forgot, what's your first name again?
Milton.
Milton. This is how somebody like Milton and even you board members can come in once we get to that point. Legally, you can talk this up all you want and say, hey, you know, as an individual, the district can say these are the good things and the bad things about getting this stuff passed. You know, once we set this in motion and we start saying we want to put it out for, I don't care if it's a bond measure, a parcel tax, an assessment district, a landowner one, whatever like that, the district has to stay out of it politically. But that doesn't mean that the public like you or individual board members on their own can't form an organization and go out there and pound the pavement and campaign, just like we did when we passed the bond measure. I did a $139 million bond measure for the Antelope Valley College. Jackie Fisher was with me. You know, he's the president. He was with me on TV stations pounding it, but not as a representative of the college, as an individual that lives in the community.
Anyway, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do.
The primary issue there is we can't spend public money to pursue a political agenda.
Right.
That's
But that
the
doesn't
issue.
mean as individuals, we can't go out there and form our own group and campaign and get people like
One of
Milton.
the things that I gotta get across to you guys, it's the landowner that's gonna pay for this, not the renter, not somebody that's visiting this community. The landowner is gonna pay for it. And I think he or she should be the only one that votes on the measure. It's coming out of their pocketbook.
You
So
know,
I'm telling you right now, and I will be out there telling the people in this community that if you vote for this thing, it's the landowners that's paying for it.
just like every school bond, just like every tax assessment, everything that goes out there, you're absolutely, and you know me personally, philosophically, I'm aligned with you, but I can't make the decision. It's the five of you. When we get to that point, that's going to finally make that final decision. And I respect, and you know, as a general manager, I can't really give my political position, but you know, I understand what you're saying exactly. I got to give you guys all the options.
Mr. Hagen, I got a couple questions. Is the general public
Go
aware?
come up here and speak on this.
Is the general public aware of the shortage?
Yes.
They are. We ought to bring this up at RMAC. That's a forum. That's a forum.
Well,
You know, you got the county rep, you got
with the chamber conference.
you know, the citizens of Rosamond, and I agree wholeheartedly. Only the taxpayers of the partials should be allowed to vote. Not every eligible voter. Only the taxpayers that own a partial.
Right, and the thing is though, is that, and the other philosophical side of the coin is you have all the property owners, but you have a lot of property owners that don't live here, they don't care.
Oh, no, you got Edwards.
That's why you
But
had.
wasn't the last time we voted a simple majority?
No, it was 2/3.
I thought it was. I thought it was majority plus one vote, but it didn't pass.
No, that might have been advisory, but any of those other elements, when it goes to the public, it's 2/3 of a vote. And the reason the legislators did that is for the simple reason that you're having the public tax property owners. But you know what? In everything in government, you have a lot of votes of the people that tax other people.
Right.
Right? I mean, we pay a lot of taxes that other people vote for, and they get the benefit from. And yeah, it's a problem sometimes. So, but on the other side of the coin, like if we have 69, I think close to 6,900 pieces of property, how many of those people are here in the community, love the community, live here? They might be in Korea, LA, they might be all over the place and say, I'm not going to pay that, I don't care about the stinking parks, right? And some of them don't think about that. But, and then what you were saying, how many people know, I would say not that many people know.
Right.
Because you know why?
They're not involved.
I would say the
We're a bedroom
only reason why people know there's an RCSD is because they pay their water bill. And they probably don't know any of their names up here. There's a handful of those people that you guys are involved with, that everybody's involved with, that are involved in the community, but the majority of the voting public.
Allison has wrote in her paper numerous times about the park and the deficit that it's in.
Right.
Okay, so there's a lot more people that know about it than what you're giving credit for.
Well, I would tend to differ with you. I bet you did a poll. When we did the poll on how many people actually read the paper, it's not that many. And no offense to any press, but it's the truth. People do not be informed. I used to do polls all the time. Andy Vasaki was.
We figure out a way to communicate with the.
You got to
the younger folks in the school
I
district.
can tell you, you can pound the pavement.
The 20 to 40-year-olds who don't use the.
Okay, let me say it like this, Mr. McKay. When we were doing the streetlights, right? We had one vote that already went out there once. People knew when the streetlights were done. You guys ran a campaign and got elected because of the streetlights. Allison wrote numerous articles about the streetlight. Rosamond News wrote numerous articles on the streetlight. We sent out mailers to every single household saying, your streetlights may get turned off. And guess what happened? When I sent the notice that they're going to get turned off, I never heard about that.
Right here in this room, they said it.
Right. I mean, so unfortunately, the advertising part of the public, you might, name recognition for an elected official. There's a lot of people that might not even know who you are. They don't know who's on the school board. They don't even know who the President of the United States is sometimes, right? They don't know they're elected officials. That's just American life now. But they'll tell you what was on TMZ. And so it behooves not only us to do what you were saying, Mr. McKay, is go out there and talk to the people. Get them out there. That's the public hearings. That's when we send out flyers. We send out not to advocate, but to educate and bring them in and get the results. And then also get people like these two gentlemen out there going up to Albertsons and talking to as many people as you can.
Question for you. When you do the strat plan, are you going to send that out to the public?
Yes.
So they'll know about it?
It would. Yep.
That would be a good first step. Because then they're going to know
Well, we'll put it up
that
on
we're going to be in the hole. We are already in the hole.
Right. Yeah.
And it does not make any sense to constantly be in the hole when you're supposed to be the stewards. We're not supposed to be a profit agency. At least
Correct.
break even.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, break even at least. Because eventually it's going to come up to paying you guys' retirements under the CalPERS system. And we're already reading about Cal City. They're already playing the shell game with that. So that'll probably be another forum here you know, a
Well,
year or
actually, we
two.
took care of that a year ago, I think.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, Brad took care of that.
Yeah,
Good job. Oh, thank you.
but anyway, that's where we're at.
So we're gonna have lots of discussions like this on what moving
That's
forward.
good, it's a good start. Is there any other discussion from the board members, Russ?
Personal opinion, but I'm not a board member opinion.
Okay. Any other input? Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve ND2 A and B with the specific direction regarding where the focus should be on financing. This year. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. All right, director reports, comment, future agenda items. Do we have any director's reports from either Mr. Lennon? Mr. Begay?
I attended the AVAC board meeting last Tuesday, and one of the things that they did there, they have an enterprise water bank. And they just accepted a proposal from Westwater Research and Monterey and Associates to perform an economic and feasibility assessment of the enterprise water bank for the amount not to exceed $66,794. What they're doing is this group is going to look at the water bank that AVAC has. They're going to tell them if it's in the proper place and if they're doing everything correctly and whether they need to make changes or not. And then yesterday I attended the water master meeting over at Palmdale, and what they're doing is they're put together a budget, and the budget they put together is $67,700, and what they're proposing to do is to levy a $1 per acre foot tax or assessment
It's
on
called
it.
the administrative assessment under the adjudication.
Yes, okay. So that was one of the things that they did there. There is also a lawsuit that's going on between Gold Trans, and what it is, it's somebody has owned a piece of property, they're splitting up their company, there's going to be two companies that are going to transfer some property over there, and what the whole thing is about is whether this company is going to the new company or the new part of the company is going to sign the stipulation of the adjudication. In other words, if they're going to go along with it. And that's still up in the air. So these were two of the things that come up. There was a lot of things on their agenda yesterday, and they got tabled because they want more information. And so they'll be on the next agenda. That's the end of my report.
Mr. Williford, anything that you can tell us from any of your meetings you attended, whether it be Rosamond Hills, whether it be RMAC, Chamber of Commerce?
I attended a training conference in Tehachapi 3 weeks ago, right after, 2 days after the last board meeting, put it that way. Long day, very informative. They didn't give us much of a lunch. Time for lunch. The lunch itself was good, but we could go out our sandwiches and we could continue to study as we ate.
Okay.
I think you had to talk to your general manager at lunch too, didn't you? Didn't you call me up that day?
No, that was the day.
That was the day before.
That was 2 days later.
We're keeping Russ busy.
Yeah. But other than that, it was a good training. It was worth the time.
Mr. Shinglemaker?
No.
Attended the RMAC meeting. There was a question from the supervisor representative, Mr. Rush, receiving some calls about what they wanted to do something about the street lights. And first I thought, well, go ahead and get all your friends and neighbors to do a petition, but then I guess the better response is to give Ron's number and the general manager here and have him field the questions. But eventually, when you talk to them, if they want to actually make a difference, they need to have 50% of the people who are the voters, which are the landowners, say they want to have the vote, and that they would vote positively if they're given the opportunity, with the understanding that it's going to cost them probably double, if not more, what it would have cost them had they voted yes the first time. And that I think that if we give that kind of direction, then they can figure out their own analysis, cost analysis, and they figure out if there's some other way of providing streetlights for themselves. They can, if not.
You know, when you had 42 separate annexations, and you can spread the legal costs, the cost of doing a Prop 218, the engineer's report over 42, and now you're going to do it maybe over one. Every one of those landowners is going to pay a lot of money to get the streetlights back on.
Well, it's not like there might be more than one. There should be at least two districts.
I'm saying it might be, if there's one, you know, I mean, what's your threshold? You're going to have to come back to the board.
Yeah.
Right? But I think I read an article, and maybe you can inform us, the RMAC was saying, somebody was on the RMAC and said they want to try to get the county to pass a law to force us that we have to keep all the streetlights on no matter what, even if there's no funding, that was in the newspaper, but I think that's illegal for them to do that, and I don't think the Board of Supervisors will be doing that, but I heard that, you know, so there is concern. They can always call the district here. I'll talk to somebody and tell them what it's going to take to get it back in front of you gentlemen.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell them it's going to pass. I'm just going to say it's a big hurdle, a lot of hurdles to get it there.
Okay. The only other idea that I ran into this weekend was I went to the Mojave Air and Space Board. They had a 30th anniversary Voyager work at Vertans book. Someone wrote a book about the X Prize. They achieved in 2004. And I just happened to read the foreword of it. It was talking about prizes and how that motivates people to get things done, innovation, that type of thing. If there's some way we could use that to encourage people to innovate, figure out ideas of how to get our various strategic planning items in place, I don't occur to me that might be possible. So keep that in the back of your mind there. That's all I got. General Council update.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays of every kind you celebrate, Happy New Year.
I know, forget to say Merry Christmas and Merry Christmas. Happy prosperous New Year. Mr. Smith.
Yes, I attended on phone the Water Master meeting, and I think the budget is lacking in a lot of areas, like a lot of us are. We're going to have another public water steering committee, water supplier steering committee. One of the main things is, as I said before, Dwayne is still pushing this idea of how the assessment gets calculated, or what gets calculated. According to my assessment of it, and talking to our attorney and the county's attorney and Quartz Hill's attorney and Little Rock's attorney, and everybody agrees that Dwayne's doing it wrong. In fact, his own attorney agreed with me at the last water meeting that we had, and he says, well, I still disagree because it has to be logical, right? And so it's all on the definitions, it's all there in the adjudication, and that really changes the budget. That changes how much money is actually going to come in. So
$67,000 won't pay for an engineer, will it?
no.
That's just to pay for 2016.
Yeah, 2016 expenses and stuff which they've accrued and everything like
And
that.
there's two major expenses that are not in that 67,700.
Right. So all that stuff has to be worked out, and ultimately, it could always go back to the judge, and the judge say, no, you're doing it wrong. This is what I said. This is what because it's already gone back there before.
It's in adjudication.
It's
spelled out.
I think it's spelled out. Assessment. It says $1 for every acre foot, $1 for every acre foot that you is in your production rights, $1 for every acre foot of replenishment water, $1 for acre foot of return flow, and then every acre foot of production above and beyond those three, which is basically every acre foot you pumped. Now, public water, the quandary is, and they're trying to simplify it, we can tell them January 1st exactly how much we pumped in 2016. The farmers can, because the farmers don't have to have meters on until another year. So it's the farmers that are going to have the problem with saying, and also AVAC has been pumping the jeebers out of their wells, and so they've really rung up the bill on that. But you're only talking about $1. So for us, the difference is the way they're calculating it would be $404 for us, the way they're calculating it. But the actuality is we're looking at paying about $2,200 for assessment. for administrative assessment, and that's to run the water master and run everything. So we'll see where we are on that. And then there was a motion in court. One of it was, we were part of it, 2 motions actually. It was the one that we pulled out of, you know, that we didn't want to, and it was out there in the public. One was, we bought property that's on Exhibit 4, so we're technically supposed to be the successor, but the judge's flavor, and I knew he would probably feel this way, he said, that wasn't really the idea. It was landowners here, public water people over here. He says, I didn't take into account, you know, basically that, you know, he says, but things changed, so he sort of cut the baby in half and said, we're not going to say they can't be, but for right now they can't be until if situations change. So if the public water agencies basically buy up all the farmland, well, they will be, you know, you're not going to have one farmer or one, you know, pumper like that say, well, I get 2 seats on the water master, right? That's a hyperbole, but, and so that was, and then so he sort of split in half. It doesn't really hurt us either way, because we only have 150 acre-feet of voting rights anyway, which isn't much. Everybody else has thousands and thousands of them. And then the other one was that LA County, no, AVAC wanted LA County to fire BB&K, because they said there was a conflict, and the judge decided no. So LA County gets to keep, and BB&K, as you know, wrote the majority of the adjudication. Yeah, they did a lot of it. So that's where we are on that, and Merry Christmas to everybody too. And like I said, we have, we're going to have 2 employees here on the days off that were furloughed, and then also on the holiday, we have a lot of people that need water, you know, the bulk water people, and we don't have the bulk water machine up yet because you guys are going to be voting on something on it come January 3rd, and then we can start the machine. But some people only can get, the amount of water they get lasts them like 2 or 3 days. And so we will be open for 2 hours every day during the holidays and every day on the days that we're furloughed. And we have a time set, and we've contacted all the bulk water people. So we'll be open for a couple hours every day so they can come in with their bulk water. And then we'll have somebody here for emergency calls. And so we're all set for that.
Okay. Assistant Manager General update report?
Yeah, John Howard couldn't be here tonight. He was having a major dental thing done this evening, so.
Director of Finance.
Thank you. I'll reiterate what Council said. Merry Christmas or other holidays that you're celebrating. Happy New Year. From a financial perspective, just a reminder to the board and community members that are here in the press that the new rates that were voted in will go effective January 1. There will be a reminder on the back of your bill, so please be cognizant of that. You might be getting phone calls or just questions at the grocery store. Why did my bill go up? Just remind them that this was something we voted on. And if they have any questions, they're free to call Mr. Smith and myself in regard to their bill and those changes. With that, we're going to be doing some updated financial analysis to look at our reserve balances pursuant to district policy. We're supposed to have several reserves in place, which we have not been able to finance over the years. Reserve policies, looking at what we need to be beginning to account for with those reserves, where they need to be going. And then Brock and I have been working on a deferred maintenance plan to look at all the infrastructure that's been in the ground for 40, 50, 60 plus years, see what needs our attention and where we can direct some of those monies once they begin to come in, we accrue them and begin to use them in line with the reserve policies that are in place. And then we're beginning to work on the mid-year budget with the reallocation of the CIP monies that will go into the mid-year budget, and we're hoping to bring that to you in February, maybe the first meeting, probably the second meeting of February. So, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, thank you very much.
If I could say one more thing, he clicked something in my head here. Well, remember we're putting the master meters in here? Well, we found out, and we have a deadline by January 18th. I had a phone conference with GEI today. Brock and John were on it, and we're actually going to be applying for a Westpark grant, and we might be able to get $300,000 to help with the cost of our master meters. So that's good. That's good. Always good to get free.
It's not free, but it's good.
It's not free, but it's free for us.
Okay, Mr. Rocksmith.
No update.
And Director of Administration, Board Secretary, Ms. Brown.
If I could take you back to agenda items. JPIA would like our handbooks reviewed and the review sent back to them. So we could get that on one of the agenda upcoming.
Yeah, which
all of the handbooks.
Which Okay, let's discuss this. We're going through a major review. There's a lot of rewrites that we have to do, so I wouldn't like to just review these and say, hey, here it is, but it's going to take, there's a number of things, not only financially, but legislatively and everything like that. So let's get together and talk and bring you in and see exactly what they want.
Okay.
How we
All I'm
can
saying
timetable.
is, we should get them on.
Codes. Like I said, there's a lot of things that need to be changed.
There's also some things that need to be addressed for the board members that require training for us, and also forms that we have to send in, dates coming up. So we need to look at
Is that besides the 700 and the
700 is one, but
Right.
also.
1234.
The 1234?
Yeah, your 1234 training time will be coming up, and I'll remind you of that and send you the link to the Secretary of State's website.
But it's easy broken down like you're saying.
Yeah, and some of it's a matter of, you know, we're gonna have experts, you know, like Brad or somebody, and we're gonna rewrite stuff. Like when you guys voted, right? You voted for, you know, your officers, and you were sworn in, and when you were supposed to meet. That's all in state law. The administrative handbook does not comply with state law. So I mean, there's little things there that we just have to fix. You know, and then we've been doing things here and there as we go, but we're trying to look at it. It's been a matter of time. I mean, this past year we did 3 Prop 218s. We did a lot of budget stuff. There was a lot. There was arsenic, chromium. There's a lot of stuff, you know, that Title 22 that we've been working on. So hopefully we get a little bit more free time freed up some time so we can, you know, work on some other projects to get that continued. So, but that's a good idea.
Okay, any other comments, any additions to the agenda, anybody?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
what are we gonna do about the first meeting in January?
I didn't put that on. We actually have some stuff that came up. The machine out there that we want to try to get going, it needs your approval, a resolution for, and we weren't able to get all that done in time for this meeting. The attorneys were researching it. We're creating a new fee, in other words, for so it's got to be coming up in front of you January 3rd. I think we had 1 or 2 other items.
Do you have to do the resolution on whether we have tiered water rates or not in the state, or
No.
it's just a matter of?
No, we already have tiered water rates.
We don't have to tell the state we have it, or we don't have to make anything?
You just have to do it.
Okay.
Right. And that was part of the seminar I went to. I went to NDS seminar, and you know, that was all the financing stuff. It was really good. We came up with a lot of good ideas, and we're going to be looking at our fee structures, a lot of things, to make sure everything's in line properly the way it's supposed to be.
Mr. Williford, just so you know, if you have to be out of town on that day, you can tell them when you came to the meeting. The only thing, there's some requirements that the secretary can tell you what you have to do to do that. Okay?
You already broke me in on that.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, any other additions, comments?
Just for the agenda, so you know, we'll be doing the agenda for the 3rd this week. So it'll be out by Friday. We'll probably get you, you know, a draft or something Thursday, and then we'll publish it on Friday. And that'll be like a week sooner than we usually do it, but because of the holidays and everything, it works out good because we'll get coming back from the holidays on January 3rd.
Okay, anything else for the good of the order? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.